Do you live in a world filled with corporate data? Are you plagued by siloed departments? Are your lackluster growth strategies demolishing your chances for success? Are you held captive by the evil menace, Lord Lack? Lack of time, lack of strategy, and lack of the most important and powerful tool in your superhero tool belt, knowledge. Never fear, Hub Heroes. Get ready to don your cape and mask, move into action, and become the Hub Hero your organization needs. Tune in each week to join the League of Extraordinary Inbound Heroes as we help you educate, empower, and execute. Hub Heroes, it's time to unite and activate your powers. Before we begin, we need to disclose that Devin is currently employed by HubSpot at the time of this episode's recording. This podcast is in no way affiliated with or produced by HubSpot, and the thoughts and opinions expressed by Devin during the show are that of his own and in no way represent those of his employer.
So Liz, before you get into the intro, I contemplated, since I was having this kind of day, that maybe every time we said the words or letters CMS, that maybe I would just take a sip of my beverage today.
Okay, given the conversation that we're having today,
yes,
I'm not sure you'd make it to the end.
Oh, well, why not?
Look at you. You know what, George? You get an A+ for like perfect segue assist. I love that. George, I'm so glad you asked. Welcome back to Hub Heroes, everybody. I am Liz Moorhead, your host, as always, joined by George, Max, and Devin. Are we here to have yet another conversation about HubSpot Content Hub? Yes, we absolutely are, but it's for a very, very good reason. So over the past month or so, we've had exhaustive, exciting conversations about the AI-powered promises of HubSpot's newly minted Content Hub. And we've engaged in a handful of AI-rooted debates along the way as well, and that's fine. But here's the thing, folks. I know, Max, did you just have like a little flashback there?
Yeah, trauma response.
Trauma. We're doing great. We're thriving as a family.
We're okay.
The thing about the introduction of HubSpot Content Hub, though, is that it was a replacement for the CMS Hub, which was previously touted as HubSpot's CMS product for companies. Okay, you know what, guys? I'm going to have to take this part again. Stop freaking with the document. Who is in there messing with it?
Doesn't it make it hard to read when they bump the lines down on you? It's like,
George!
It wasn't me. No, I'm Pink, remember? Who's Mr. Green? Mr. Green, that's
Devin.
Yeah.
Devin.
Yeah. Put your notes at the bottom, homeboy.
Anonymous Liger.
And I was doing so good on my CMS drinks as you were like just flowing through that intro too.
I wasn't even taking notes. I was just messing with Liz.
I know.
This is the type of Friday shenanigans we're having on this one. All right.
I was so close to getting through it. I held it together pretty well, but I'm like, my dude.
So focused on it, and I'm like, I have to ruin this.
The words keep moving.
I have to ruin this.
Oh my God.
Noah, leave that all in. All of it.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, take two.
Do you live in a...
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That is one official demerit to Devin. I will see you in my office after class.
I ain't even mad at it. I'm not mad
I
at
know.
it.
I'm not mad. Honestly, let me be clear. I'm proud. Like, I'm just like, I never thought of this. I'm so proud of you, Devin. I'm proud to know you.
How to mess with a host 101. Just hit the enter button.
It's fine, and I'm fine, and this, you know, if anything, you guys, you are just making it so that we are cementing my therapist's steady stream of income for at least a few more months. So, Dr. Nash, if you are listening, you have these jokers to thank.
You're welcome.
I love you guys so much. I really love you guys so much. It is my favorite part of the week, but okay. So,
what the... Somebody's loose. Go get them.
You're right, Max. You're right, Max. We're all screaming. We're all screaming because HubSpot Content Hub used to be CMS Hub.
Way
Okay,
to bring
back.
it back. Way to bring it
Everybody back.
Liz.
Everybody back.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry for the live audience. It must just be a day.
Are you really though? Are you really
I mean, not
sorry though?
really.
This is the
Yeah,
perk.
this is the perk of being on
What are
the
you talking
live
about?
audience.
This is what it means to be a human, George.
Oh, yes. And we know here in Hub Heroes, we love the humans.
Okay, guys, we actually have to help some humans on this episode today. Are we good? Is everyone okay?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. No, I have fun editing this. George, I'm actually going to turn this over to you. So that way, if things go horribly wrong, they're messing with you. But also, this week's conversation stemmed out of a conversation you and I have been having over this past month, which is that when HubSpot Content Hub came out, it replaced the CMS Hub, right? And now we have been hearing from clients that there's just confusion. Yeah, they're excited. Yeah, HubSpot Content Hub, it seems to have a lot of promise. But I want to turn it over to you for a second. There is confusion. Is HubSpot Content Hub still a website CMS? So can you paint the picture of what you've been hearing over the past week or so with clients in regards to this change?
I'll answer that question if you just say CMS one more time.
CMS.
Okay. All right, let me put my cup down.
Max, how are you holding it together there, buddy? I see you, like he's got part of his face covered to keep him like an adult.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best.
So here's the deal. I knew that we had issues, and this was about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, when I was going through the process of upgrading from the HubSpot CMS that I have loved and adored and used and sold and built websites with, to Content Hub. And then I assisted one of our clients through that journey as well. And I saw an email from my client to a HubSpot human not to be named on this podcast. And the question was, so is Content Hub just a set of AI tools? Because the rep had sent a YouTube playlist of HubSpot AI. I immediately was like, oh, crap.
Not what I wanted to do. Sorry.
Yeah. And by the way, the person not to be named actually responded to the email, and it was like a pretty much. And I was like, oh, crap. To which then I responded to the email and was like, hey, client that I love, let's hop on a call and I can explain to you. So one, it's fundamentally confusing when you change the name of anything. Imagine if I just showed up as Bobby all of a sudden, like for the rest of the life, people be like, who's Bobby? Like they'd be confused. And
you might be Tony from Happily with the Popsicles,
Tony,
right?
Hey, Tony.
It's my boy.
He's
That's
awesome.
my boy.
That's what I'm just saying.
My name is John.
Yeah. And if you don't know the Tony story, you just got to go listen to historical episodes. But so there's this level of confusion. There's information that's coming out that isn't quite right. I won't say 100% wrong because yes, there is a large bit of AI, and yes, there is a podcast tool, and yes, there is still the foundational, hang on, let me get ready for this, elements that make it a CMS.
Okay, before we go any further, I want to just get this out to the group. Let's clarify for the listeners at home. When we say, George, get your glass ready.
Yeah.
When we say CMS, what are we talking about?
What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that, brother?
Brother,
Was that a question back to George or?
No, you
all of
guys. We're winning
I mean,
today.
I can read HubSpot's definition. So HubSpot says, and I think this is the one that we all agree with, which is that CMS is a content management system. It's a software application that allows users to build and manage a website without having to code it from scratch or know how to code it all. So that's like the basic foundational CMS, take a drink, George, definition. But I would be curious if you guys would add anything to that. Like when I say CMS traditionally before this change, what comes to mind, Maximus?
You know what's kind of interesting is that like when you hear this thing is a CMS, oftentimes what it means is this thing is a website builder, right? Not necessarily managing content, right? If anything, all the new features and stuff that they've added to Content Hub almost makes it more of a true content management system, just because of the pure amount of content you can create and manage, right? And it's not just a website builder, right? Sure, can you build websites? Absolutely. You can build website pages, landing pages, thank you pages, all kinds of pages, whatever pages you want to make, you can make on it, right? But it truly does give you, I think, not only the tools to be able to manage the content better. And when I say manage, it's I think, you could foyer that into the creation of, and the remixing of, and the embedding and the hosting of, right? So I think it's super interesting that it's kind of graduated out of that, sort of stigma that a CMS has. Oh, it's a website builder, to a lot more. It's a content builder. It's a content manager. It's a content hub, right? So, yeah.
So here's the thing. And I get where we're going, because have I built things other than websites with the HubSpot CMS? Yes. Are there multiple directions that you could take this if you're an out-of-the-box thinker? And yes, but do we need a brand new name to do said out-of-the-box thinking? So, like, I live in this world where if it looks like a duck and it smells like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And Max, to your point, it's a CMS. And Nick from Fargo even jumps in and he's like, let's go with 3 exclamation marks. 100% I vote Max. It's more of a CMS now than it ever has been.
But what about Chad's suggestion that we just call it Chub?
Oh,
yo.
No. We are kid friendly here at the Hub Heroes. So
I don't know what you're talking about. That is just merely.
We could just shorten it to the C Hub if Chub is
Cahub.
Every video with like drum solo's been done. We can do like an accordion solo or something.
So, gentlemen, all I'm going to do, because we are a family friendly podcast, is I'm just going to say,
are we, Liz?
The most recent.
Are we?
Look at the most I have tried. I have been scolded in previous episodes and been censored. Thank you very much.
Like Animaniacs was family.
Fine. Then Chad called us the Chub Heroes. I was just going to look at the comment. I wasn't going to read it.
Nope. Nope. That's we're not rebranding. See, unlike HubSpot. Unlike HubSpot, we're not rebranding.
All right, so here's the thing. Let me bring this back around here, because George, it's funny. I agree with Max. I agree with Max, and I agree with George. On the one hand, Max, I get what you're saying from a progressive sense. We need to expand what our definition is of a CMS, because aren't technically all of these things CMS? On the other hand, George, I get what you're saying as well, where it's like, can we just call the duck a duck instead of a weird, squeaky, walking, feathery thing?
Well, yeah.
Like, do we really have to change the name? And it reminds me of when they changed the content strategy tool to the SEO tool. And I'm like, what? But why did you do that? It was a content strategy tool. Oh, Devin.
Okay.
Yes.
So I've been chilling on this conversation.
Oh boy.
And let me start by saying that legal jargon was in that opener for a reason. It's because everything I'm about to say is this is Devin's take.
We love you, HubSpot.
Okay. So first thing first, the emotions and the feelings that were felt over here in front of my computer when you told me what that person said about Content Hub being an AI tool. I almost walked away. But I was afraid that I wouldn't come back. I was afraid that I'd start saying something that I would regret. So let me start by saying it is more than an AI tool or even a suite of AI tools.
Yep.
But also, you can't call it CMS Hub because it's more than a CMS. CMS is part of the category of suite of services that Content Hub offers. CMS Hub was about the CMS. Content Hub is about the content. You want your CMS to be HubSpot? Fantastic. You want it to be WordPress? Cool. We can do all the same stuff. We're going to embed content. You're going to be able to write content. You're still going to be able to use ChatSpot. You're going to be able to do all those fun things. Have half your site on WordPress, half your site on HubSpot, however you want to roll. A third of it on Shopify.
Please don't do that.
If you're
Please
crazy, get nuts with it.
No. So wait, okay, let me throw this out there then.
Frame.
Okay.
Yeah, you could be by CMS, you will.
But the point is that
Oh no.
the goal is that regardless of whether or not you want to move your entire website, whether or not, and keep in mind that WordPress isn't the only thing that Content Hub interacts with,
Yeah.
It's a tool to get your content out there, because people are talking about AI content. Let's talk about, human developed, human driven content, but delivered in the best way possible. That's what you get with Content Hub.
Do you know what I keep thinking, George? Because the answer to this next question I had was, so is HubSpot Content Hub still a CMS solution for businesses? Obviously, the answer is yes. It sounds like we just straight up have a messaging strategy problem where there's a lack of clear messaging on what Content Hub is. Unless, George, you think that there's a different answer to that question of, is HubSpot Content Hub still a CMS solution?
Well,
To be fair, the word content has a billion different definitions, though.
can I jump in?
Yeah.
I think the confusion might be more in our ecosystem than it is externally. Because this is a conversation that I've had about our customer-facing messaging versus partner-facing messaging. With our partner-facing messaging, we're talking a lot about get CMS out of your content, get CMS out of your everything. It's not CMS Hub anymore. When we're talking about new customers and people who are new to it, they just see Content Hub for content. But for existing customers, I can see why there'd be some confusion.
So
Is this what living, laughing, and loving looks like?
I think it might be a little bit of that and a little bit
Fantastic.
of that and a little bit of
Absolutely.
single pot still Irish whiskey, but
Yeah, we've got that extra large Tweety Bird energy shirt today. Tweety
Yeah.
Bird shirt
Is this,
energy.
is this the first time you've been drinking just actively on the podcast?
it's the first time. But
The first time you've known.
Here's the thing. No, it's the first time that I've actively been drinking on the podcast. The good thing is the only place I have to drive is to my living room, ladies and gentlemen. So don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. But here's
Usually
the thing.
when you drink and drive, you could end up in some living rooms, George.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Version of the ladies' man.
like listen, I knew going into this, and Devin, I hear you. I believe all that you said, and but at the end of the day, a burger's a burger. Whether I sell it to an effing employee or I sell it to somebody who comes to the drive-thru. And so there's still an issue, because if the people who are on the front lines are getting the wrong messaging, they're delivering the wrong messaging. And what I'm saying is we are on the front lines as partners, and we have to have these conversations with the humans. And as soon as there's a point where internal HubSpot vocabulary doesn't match up with external partner vocabulary, we have a problem. And I knew too, Liz, that this conversation was going to be a fun conversation, which is, by the way, why I think we're having so many shenanigans, is because we want to talk about it, not want to talk about it. Like we see the elephant in the room, but we don't want to address the elephant in the room. And by the way,
But also shenanigans.
Shenanigans. But here's the deal. It's not like this is the first time that this has happened. This whole naming thing. Anyway, I'll just be quiet.
Well, I think the thing to understand is that it's not just changing the name. These are two completely separate things. CMS is no longer a hub. CMS is now a feature. And so it's not about where you're hosting your final website. You want to do it on HubSpot? Fantastic. We got you. If you want to do it on WordPress, or if you want to do it on any, whatever, we got you. It's like, we'll find a way to make it happen. It can be something as simple as putting text in the header, so we're scraping and putting in analytics, or it can be as just straight up inputting the cookie or the plugin into WordPress. There's other CMS where you can have a direct integration with HubSpot, or like I said, HubSpot CMS in general. This takes the CMS conversation out of the equation. It's like, at this point, it's like, where are you most comfortable having, is there an objection to having HubSpot? Like, one of the reasons I've had struggled so much getting people off of WordPress and onto HubSpot is because they couldn't wrap their heads around the sunk cost. It's like they think that the website is free forever. And it's like, oh my goodness, no. Like, I don't even do consulting anymore, but I have these like never-ending contracts with certain people where I have to make sure that their WordPress site is up and running. And this has been going on for like 2 years. And it is so frustrating. And I wish I could just get them to get on HubSpot, but they wouldn't. So it's whatever. But if that is the only thing keeping you from getting HubSpot as a CRM and getting these other massive suite of content tools, then all right, let's take CMS out the quick. Just stay where you're at. Be happy. Let's just give you all the other cool stuff that we got. And if you want to move over to HubSpot CMS, great. But CMS is not the center of our focus anymore. We're focusing on content and customer experience,
which
That's
I
what
can
Inbound's always been about.
and I can get down with both of those. Like, I'm all about some content and I'm all about customer experience. Anyway, okay.
George, I want you to stay on the mic here for a minute, because what I'm finding fascinating listening to this discussion, here are my thoughts, but then George, I have a specific question for you, which I'm sure will kick off another just flurry of totally not unhinged discourse and discussion. On a serious note, though, what I'm finding fascinating about what you're saying, Devin, is that this is the direction in which HubSpot is focusing, and the direction in which these are the things that we're prioritizing. But one of the things that has been a challenge that I've observed with HubSpot customers, just in the conversations I've observed as people are trying to make decisions, trying to understand what HubSpot Content Hub really is that the entry point for many people for HubSpot is that they don't realize those are the solutions they should be looking for. Their entry point often is, well, I need HubSpot to help me build my website. I am coming here looking for a CMS solution. You are offering me Richard Branson's yacht when I just really need right now a canoe, or maybe like a solid little speedboat. Okay. Do you know what I mean? So there's that conflict.
Let's role play.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
We are.
All right.
Oh,
here we go. Yeah. Buckle in, people. Buckle in. All right. So, you be the customer. Okay.
Okay.
And
have fun, Liz.
Here we go.
I'm fine and not at all uncomfortable.
All right. So I understand you need a CMS website.
Yes.
All right. Mm-hmm. And this is like something you need quick, fast, in a hurry. First thing, what's your budget?
Jeez. I don't know.
Okay.
Right now, I know that I'm probably looking, I'm trying to role play as a customer. I haven't been on these conversations for a while.
$10,000.
When I think of, I would say 10 to 20, somewhere around there.
10 to 20. Okay. Fantastic. So
I'm looking to do a website redesign project, and I'm looking to have a CMS migration as a part of that, because we're currently on WordPress and it's just not working for us.
All right. Well, if WordPress isn't working, boy, do I have a solution for you. So now this is where the conversation would progress down the path of HubSpot, and we would talk about why WordPress wasn't working. We would talk about, the updates, the hacks, the 0-day vulnerabilities or whatever. And then I would talk about how all of that is not an issue with HubSpot, and getting it set up with the new tools, especially in Content Hub, is a breeze. Now, let's say you had been on the other end. You graduated college in 2004 and learned WordPress and never learned another thing again. And so you are in the team that WordPress is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you want a WordPress redesign, but you don't want to have a conversation about anything else. Okay, fine. Let's talk about it. And while I'm getting to know you, I'm going to get to know about everything else that's going on. And then I'm going to learn about why it all sucks. And then I'm going to create a presentation at the end of your website redesign about why it sucks. And by the way, we can take the marketing strategy because we've done the front end of your conversion path. What happens after that? Let's have that conversation since you love and trust me. And we've been developing this website for 6 to 8 weeks.
George and Max, I'm curious what your thoughts are on that role play.
Well, first of all, for any of you out there that are listening to this, if you come and say $10,000, know that you're probably not going to get much of a website. So that was just
I just let that happen.
Yeah, that was just a fun number. But
I have a
I'll make you a great website for 10K. I need money.
Max, I'll do it. Max says he'll do it.
I'll do it
with some duct tape and baler twine. But here's the other piece that I'll throw out there is, I hear what Devin's saying, and I even started to lean into like, okay, I can see where I could use CMS as a launch pad. But then the amplifying conversation could be there's these other things that we can do to make your content more successful. However, I want to rewind back to something that Devin said. And he said, and again, it was all Devin's thoughts because we have that legal disclaimer. He said, that's not our focus anymore. And what I want everybody to realize, when I heard that, my brain said, oh, so websites, CMS, not a focus, content and helping people amplify their content, focus. And I go into this like paradoxical moment where I'm like, I kind of, and I get it. I could go WordPress. I could go .NET Nuke if I wanted to, or Joomla or Drupal, whatever. I could, but me as who I am fundamentally goes, but I need this to do that. And of course, the way that I'm made, it's like, meaning I need a HubSpot CMS website to be able to amplify my content with the Content Hub. So, but I hear Devin, and you're starting to change my brain and how I'm thinking about the conversation could be. Because again, remember, this started with, it was just a jacked up conversation that I was like, Liz, we need to do an episode on this.
Yeah, because the thing is that what you got to do is you got to look at the features. And one of the reasons why it's so easy for me to be 10 toes down about Content Hub is because I've had to generate.
Oh, man. Somebody screenshot that right there. That is, dang it. We lost it.
Hub. What?
Nothing. You're fine.
You froze for a second in an awesome way. Oh. You froze like this.
Okay. So
go back to whatever you were doing when your mouth was like this.
He was being a human.
There we go.
Derailed my train of thought. Okay, somebody help remind me, what was I saying? What were we talking about?
Somebody drop it in the chat. We'll bring it back to that. George, I'm going to come back to you for a second while Devin gathers his thoughts, okay? Yeah. So this is not the first time we've been in this kind of sticky situation where there's been a powerful, progressive HubSpot rollout that has created confusions and questions.
Yeah.
Because George, if memory serves, there was the great COS update debate of you want to take us down memory lane there for a second?
Yeah. No, wait, hold on. Can I just
because I think that's why maybe I have such visceral feelings and response. Because we've been here before, but in a different way, right? So we had this HubSpot tools that was the website tools. And then all of a sudden we went from, okay, it's not going to be a website, ladies and gentlemen. This literally was like an inbound, like at inbound, they started to talk about this thing.
I remember that.
And all of a sudden it was like, now it's the COS. It's the content optimization system.
Pretentious.
And that lasted for a brief time before all of a sudden kicked it back around and like, Psych! It's the HubSpot.
JK LOL.
It's the HubSpot CMS. And so, like, when all of a sudden, while I was, by the way, part of the conversations and being interviewed and like, oh yeah, these would be dope features and I'd love to do this thing, I did not know that I was adding to the and we're going to change the name conversation. And so, like, because we've been there before, now maybe I'm kind of licking my wounds that we're here again and wondering, do we get down, and I hope not, and I think not, but do we get back to the point where all of a sudden it's the HubSpot CMS a year from now?
Guys, what's going on?
I think Devin's mic.
Sorry, I thought I had muted it.
Ooh, that's
My
better.
bad.
But your audio is way better. Put a C in the chat for Devin's better better audio. There we go. Salim was right on it.
There we go.
Chubbs in the chat. I remember just when I was doing implementation, that's when it was the content optimization system.
Yeah.
And that was just the most awkward thing to say.
Yeah.
They'd go, oh, can you show us the CMS? I go, well, actually, it's the content optimization system. And then they go, why? And I'd go, because it optimizes your content. And they go, oh, how? And I go,
by optimizing it.
I go, smart content? I don't know. Like,
He starts smashing
SEO
buttons on the desk.
Yeah, it was the SEO tools, right? It's like the SEO like suggestions, right? Which, I get it. It was, but it's just like, I don't know, that name was so pretentious.
Max, I don't want you to hop off the mic here for a second because I've been watching you be our nice little soundboard ninja all throughout the episode. But I would be curious to get your thoughts on this whole debate. Do you think that we're just sitting here worrying about nothing? Is there no there? Or do you see any sort of disconnect or pull or push between people who are looking for a HubSpot CMS, but now it's Content Hub? How are you thinking about this whole situation?
Yeah, I think we should chill out. It's fine. I mean...
End of episode. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate you. This has been delightful. Yep, thank you.
Hashtag one thing, just chill out.
I mean, the thing is, here's what needs to happen, honestly. Here's what needs to happen, right? When I hear George say, I asked my HubSpot sales rep what Content Hub was, and they basically said it was a bunch of AI features. The former solutions engineer at HubSpot, whoever you were.
Oh, no.
You are so lucky I wasn't your solutions engineer for that deal because, God, that is makes my blood boil.
And just so you know, if you're listening, I'm not going to ask George to forward me the email because I was, but I changed my mind.
Forward it to me. George, forward it to me. I want to see it.
Don't somebody forward me nothing. But I'm not trying to get fired. We don't have to change the intro again. Don't forward me nothing.
Yeah, I'm not forwarding any emails. And if you're listening to this episode, I really wish you would just go over to community.hubheroes.com and watch the video version because the faces that Max and Devin made at the same time during that last portion, Liz, we should have done a screenshot of that.
You're in
you mean
trouble.
as if I haven't already been taking them? Please, none of you are ever safe from my screenshotting. It never happens.
This is what I will say. HubSpot sales reps have a product knowledge problem, right? And it's part and parcel of the nature of the role, right? I can't tell you how many times when I was trying to push how important product knowledge was doing new hire training, the folks who didn't believe that it was important would say things back to me like, oh, the sales reps don't need to know the product. They just need to understand the value. Wrong. Incorrect. Because I have sales managers that also tell me my best salespeople are the ones that know the product the best, right? And here's the thing. Do you have to be a product expert as a salesperson? No, but you should at least be able to accurately explain what the one of the hubs are, right? And so what I would encourage any HubSpot sales reps listening to this episode,
he keeps making eye contact with the camera, and it keeps making me very uncomfortable.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it because I can't even bring myself to look at them. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, you need to be able to do this for every single hub, is be able to explain each hub in one sentence, right? So you understand the role that it plays when it comes to spinning that flywheel, right? The Content Hub just helps you build all of your content. The Marketing Hub helps you market said content. It's that simple, right? You don't have to know all the ins and outs of it, right? But you should at least be able to have a general explanation of what the heck this giant chunk of the product is, right? So I would encourage any customer-facing HubSpotters watching this, right, to kind of come up with your script, your unique way of explaining it, right? As long as it accurately explains like what it is, you kind of owe it to the HubSpot community to be able to do that. And it's only going to help you, I promise, right? You want to sell more HubSpot? Be able to explain it succinctly and not lie about what it is. Not lie about what it is, but not incorrectly explain what it is.
I mean,
Anyway,
let's be honest. Okay. First of all, side tangent, but not side tangent. You officially have 11 days of the day of this recording to switch your navigation to the new navigation. By the time this goes out, you'll have about 9 days to switch your navigation to the new navigation, to the sidebar navigation. I want to just say something for a second. If I click on what is the content link for the Content Hub, because there's the marketing and there's the commerce, and if I click on content, at the very top, it says website pages. After that, it says landing pages. After that, it says blog. In mine, after that, it says podcast. It's in beta, ladies and gentlemen, but it's going to be dope when it's done. I actually talked to one of the PMs earlier this week, and I'm super excited. After that, it's got embeds. After that, it's got knowledge base. After that, it's got customer portal. By the way, has anybody heard anything that has anything to do with freaking AI? After that, it's HubDB. Then it's got Remix, which is, by the way, an AI feature that helps you make content confetti and helps you amplify your content and create content faster. Then SEO and Design Manager. Out of a list of what? 9, 10, 11? I don't know. I didn't count on the way through me looking at this. There's one AI tool. Now, is there AI tools in the blog? Yes. Are there AI settings for your voice and your brand voice? Yes. So there are things salt and peppered in this, but when you look at the core piece of what it is in your main navigation, there's literally one AI tool. So to go back to the original conversation, so Content Hub is basically a glorified AI hub. No, it's not. It's not.
Brother,
Anyway, I'm a little bit passionate about this lady. You know how many websites I've built since I opened my business? And we just were happy with calling it a CMS. I did.
I love it. So, George, as we wrap up today's conversation, you know, the genesis for this totally normal, completely professional, G-rated episode of the HubHeroes podcast.
Questionable.
I was leaning into Noah's superpowers of production. Sure.
Yeah.
Also that.
Yeah, that.
We have tested you.
Yeah, we've tested. No, like he's gonna be super happy. Then I'm like, bro, get ready with the scissors. Like you're gonna be cutting.
Yep. Chop chop. But George, the genesis for today's conversation really centered around the fact that you were experiencing confusion with your clients.
Yeah.
And you wanted to have this more zoomed out conversation to bring you clarity as well around how we should be thinking about and talking about HubSpot Content Hub, RIP, HubSpot CMS Hub.
Yeah.
Have your feelings or perspectives changed on this topic since the start of our conversation?
Yes and no. Do I believe that the CMS portion of the conversation is a good launching pad? Yes. Do I believe that Content Hub gives us other things to talk about and also a direction to go and make the HubSpot SaaS software better and therefore helping people make better content? Yes. Do I still think that there's going to be 1,000,000,001 people searching CMS? Yes. As somebody who builds websites on a CMS, does it make sense for me to change the name of every article or video that I've created that talks about the difference of CMS and WordPress or CMS and XYZ? I want to start twitching because I can create the content to align with the brand messaging of HubSpot. But does that then mean I'm not creating the content to the intention of the searcher? And ladies and gentlemen, that scares the ish out of me.
The way I think about it as someone who's been creating a lot of content about it recently, Devin double clicked on what my instinct was, which is that it is the HubSpot Content Hub. That is what we're leading with. But to his point, the CMS is a feature.
Yeah.
It's not that HubSpot is no longer offering you a CMS solution. It's just that is not the posture. That is not the way they're leading forward with it. So for example, I was working on articles this week, as you know, about the HubSpot CMS, whether or not it's the content of, and the way I've described it is the HubSpot CMS features, now HubSpot Content Hub. Like I'm still leading with that because to your point, we have a situation where there is the place that we are leading people to from a conversational aspect. And when I say we, I mean HubSpot, right? HubSpot is saying this is what we're prioritizing. We are the HubSpot Content Hub. But the means by which they're going to get there is, well, I'm looking for a CMS. That's where I'm looking to go.
So I like 50 to 55% agree with George on switching up the content. Here's why. So it can be nightmare for video, wouldn't even bother. I don't think it makes sense to try and completely scrub the internet of it. But number one, of course, be mindful going forward. But two, even going back and changing it, to me, I see it as repurposing the content because now you're refreshing old content with a new name that isn't really out there yet. On top of that, if you have been a good human being, you wouldn't need the word CMS Hub in it to qualify for people who are looking for a CMS, because everything about CMS plus the word CMS outside of the word CMS Hub, if the content is about helping people who are looking for a CMS solution,
well, here's the thing, though. I'm not calling it the CMS Hub. I'm just merely saying that there is a CMS component of HubSpot that is within HubSpot.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is the repurposing. One of the things that George said was going back and changing the video and changing the content and losing searchers because of that. What I'm saying is that I think the content will still be as strong if the content was strong beforehand. The content should be able to stand on its own. If we're talking about the product, then changing the content, changing the name of the product doesn't diminish the value of the content if the content is primarily about CMS solutions.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now,
right, final question.
If we're talking, sorry, just real quick. If we're talking 2008 Google, absolutely. Shoot yourself in the foot. But today, Google.
Can I complain for a second?
If you want.
Yes. Talk to us, Bobby.
I think it is an absolute crime that they do not have a link in the content navigation to HubSpot video. It's insane to me that I need to go to files and then sort by video to see the video, right? And it's not just under content. And especially with how sick the video module is for HubSpot video on CMS pages. I literally had no idea until this very moment.
Wait, what?
No. Oh, I did not have any idea how much you could do with a HubSpot video on a CMS page.
Oh, yeah.
You can change the size. You can make it full width. You can have it be the original size. You can add subtitles. You can drop in a CTA, put it behind a form. You can loop it, mute it, autoplay it, and hide the controls. And then you can even choose what color the play button is.
Hey, but you missed.
Why are we hiding it?
Yeah.
From the navigation.
Yeah.
It's insane to me. Anyway.
I agree. There needs to be some
swing and a miss.
It needs to go in that direction. Here's the thing, Max, you even missed one that I love is that you can do the top and bottom spacing of your player so that when you put it in like the middle of a couple paragraphs in your blog article, that you don't have to do extra just returns or paragraph returns, because you can literally do the spacing at the top and bottom of your player too. Like, I love the player.
Like, it's like, it's just hidden. It's hidden away. It is tucked away. One of the most important formats of content is just hidden away. Come on, guys.
Come on. Hey, Liz, did you know that you have something highlighted in pink in our show notes?
Stop messing with the doc, George.
It's not me. I'm just looking at it. I mean, that's where we started, is I was being asked why I had something highlighted in the document. And
I was asking because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any questions you had before we went live. I was trying to be a good host and a facilitator.
So I'm guessing the one that you have highlighted is where we're going.
I have one for this.
What, the question I'm about to ask, Max?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Ask it.
I will.
Can you ask it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that we've made a case to HubSpot as to why we should absolutely be allowed to do a live show at Inbound.
Oh, without a doubt.
100%. Hire us. Call us. Here's my last question to you all. And Max, you can start. What would we like to see from HubSpot when it comes to future rollouts? Are there ways us HubSpotters should be educating ourselves when HubSpot rolls out big changes like this? Or both? Do we want something from HubSpot, or should we be doing something differently? Max.
Okay. All right. So I've been thinking about this a lot lately because of how much I've been playing with Event Happily, and because of my job having a lot. I don't know how I'm supposed to say this. Because I've been setting up a lot of demo portal stuff, right? I've gotten very familiar with the way dynamic content works on CMS pages for Content Hub Pro and above, right? We've had dynamic content before. It was part of HubSpot CMS, even before. But what's really cool, if you guys don't know what dynamic content is, it basically lets you turn on a setting on pages that you build in the website page or landing page tool, right? Where it will basically let you use modules that you've created that suck in information about records in your database, right? The only downside is you need a CMS developer to custom code those modules. What I would love to see in Content Hub is if they had like a CMS module codeless builder, right? Or a codeless CMS module builder, where it's like, cool, what do you want to display? Oh, I want to display information about this kind of object. Or I want to be able to display, information about associated objects to whatever object this page is dynamically set up to use, or something like that, right? And then being able to like build modules that are like, cool, do you want to show it as like a card or like a gallery or like a whatever, or a listing or something like that? Like, they could totally do something where you could build like modules codelessly just by using like a drag and drop editor or something that sucks in data from your CRM records. That would be so cool, because then you could start to build some really, really, really powerful stuff without having to get a developer to code it, right? And at least just like basic stuff. Sure, it doesn't have to do everything in the world, right? But to be at least be able to say like, oh, I want a module that will show, listings of objects that like meet a certain criteria or something like that. Like, that would be so cool and such a great addition to Content Hub.
All right,
George.
Yep. So what would we like to see from HubSpot when it comes to future rollouts? Or are there ways us HubSpotters should be educating ourselves when HubSpot rolls out big changes like this? I'm going to go with the second one. That's the one I want to answer. There needs to be a little bit more of a ecosystem in which we get the time and we get the access as partners to play with these tools. Because if we truly start to know them and use them, and then if we become the voice of customer for the people who are going to write the copy, or at least part of the voice of customer, for the people who are going to write the copy that the front end sales team and engineers and whoever is going to use you have humans in this ecosystem that have 10, 20, 30, 40 years of business experience that could give you some very vital insights. And granted, I know that we get a partner thing to fill out once a year to like the ego. I get it, but this is different. This is different. Now, do I also realize that that might get a little chaotic? Then be choosy on who you pick to be the alpha users or the beta users or to have in the conversation that is the voice of customer. But at the end of the day, the training has to be there immediately as well. Like HubSpot has gotten better at this, but we reached a long time ago where it was almost impossible for HubSpot Academy to keep up with product updates and product launches. And that's why Kyle Jepsen has his job, by the way, because somebody realized it's a human's full-time job to be talking about all the stuff that's happening. Well, guess what? You have thousands and thousands of partners that it's our job as well to be talking about what's happening. So getting that education quickly for any of these massive rollouts, to me, is a huge portion of it. Like, I'll give you an example. We launched super admin training on sidekickstrategies.com. In it, one of the week's modules was the CMS. Now, it won't be about the CMS. It'll be about the Content Hub. But in the Content Hub week, we'll talk about the CMS and we'll talk about other tools. I can only do that because, well, one, we make a show every week. Two, I'm an idiot and I go to product updates every single morning with my first cup of coffee to look at what's happening in HubSpot. But not mere mortal humans, even partner agencies, not everybody can do that or does that. So there's something there about like getting our voice and also escalating the training to the humans. I got to be careful I say this, but that matter, that we get it in their hands first. Okay, that's enough.
I agree with you, George. And in fact, I'm going to double click on your answer here. I think the answer is twofold. I think HubSpot is changing in very big ways. And 5 or 10 years ago, when they used to make big changes, they were quote unquote big, but the ecosystem itself was much smaller. So I think we're feeling the ripple effects of that. And I think also that this is the whole idea of change, right? Change, even when it's positive, is disruptive. You know, it's the who moved my cheese thing, right? The cheese is still there. It's just on a different table. Just move, you know? The other piece of it, though, is that, to your point, George, there has to be a way to bring certain partners along in this process, because part of successful adoption and excitement around the platform is going to hinge upon your evangelists, your ambassadors, your partner agencies, your solutions partners. They have to be able to speak with authority and confidence, and should never end up in conversations where they're like, I have the same questions myself, but I'll get back to you. And I think that's where we run into this tricky thing. Now, I know that's in a lot of ways easier said than done. And HubSpot does a really great job of working hard to foster those partner agency and solutions partner relationships. My knock isn't on that. My challenge is that the ecosystem is much more complex. We have more people who are going to have more opinions than ever about what these changes are and how they feel about them. And simply changing a hub name is going to create unhinged discussions, just like this one, born of 4 people who have been in this ecosystem for over a decade.
Yeah.
And that, I think, says something. I think it's a both and. I agree with you, George, but I think I would love to see from HubSpot ways in which they go out of their way to say, hey, you're about to get a lot of questions about this. You're about to have a lot of people who potentially may be confused about this. These are the things that we're doing. These are the things that we're talking about. I am a content strategist who has been in the HubSpot ecosystem for more than a decade, and Content Hub should have been the biggest headline coming over the horizon for me, and I didn't know about it until it was already here.
Yep.
I'm not saying I'm particularly special, but my point is
We think you are.
Thank you. But there are plenty of other people out there like me, plenty of other agencies out there like me, plenty of other solutions partners out there like me, where it's like, activate us, make us your evangelists. Even if you're only giving me crumbs, just so I know it's coming and I know how to talk about it. Because when it got here, I'm like, I am very confused. I'm hearing AI powered. I'm hearing it's still a CMS, but it's not a CMS. I'm hearing everything Devin is saying. And I completely agree, Devin, by the way, 100% with the things that you're saying. But there's just this, it was a waterfall of information, and I was not given a compass by HubSpot in which to have informed conversations with HubSpot customers who are coming to me with questions. Because George, you're not the only one who's been getting client questions about that. I've been getting it too. And I'm like, well, if we look, the new navigation, right? Like,
yeah.
Yes, I too am fluent in all of this, So that's my thinking on it. Devin, light of my life, take us home. What are your thoughts on the answer to this question?
So, that used to be a running joke with me for a long time, is that you always find out about HubSpot updates when you're on a demo call with customers.
Pin there.
And, but that's something that has been heard and has been acted on, which is why we are doing spotlights. The most recent one was the spring spotlight. And these are opportunities to showcase the big, feature product releases. The most recent one was, April 24th was the big product spotlight. However, prior to April 24th, there was a 45-minute long video that went out to partners about the spring spotlight. Now, granted, it didn't go out to everybody, but it went out to a lot of partners about it. Those were in detail. Also, these things were talked about in the Partner Digest, So I understand that we can have more of a conversation around these, feature products. But that's one of the things that we're focusing on with Spotlight. Between the Spotlight and the open betas, there are ways, especially partners, that you can enroll in these open betas and check them out, get signed up. And plus, we love the feedback on the tools. But yeah, that's the two sides of it. That we are getting significantly better, but also like exceedingly frustrating with the answers from the internal person, because we have an internal wiki. We have everything detailed and right at our fingertips. And not only to inform us, it's literally verbatim what to say about it to other people. And so like that's still frustrating and shouldn't have happened. But yeah, they're getting better. They're getting better. And I can say we're getting better because I'm a part of it. Yay!
I love it.
Yeah. Liz, I'm realizing I grossly misunderstood the question when I came in with a feature request, because when we said rollouts, I thought you meant that. But
we still love you.
I think
we love you, Max.
The only thing I would say, right, because I think Spotlight's a really good example of how they're like rolling stuff out, right? There was a lot of people after Spotlight that was like, the rabid HubSpot community, right? The folks that literally wake up in the morning, roll over, grab their phone and bring up the product update page, or the folks that lick the screen when Kyle is doing his product update videos, right? The folks that just so intentionally the Hub Hawks, right? They're watching HubSpot so intensely, and they know a second an update comes out, so they can plug that thing into ChatGPT and make like an update post about it on LinkedIn, right? We all see it. Obviously, Spotlight wasn't for those people. However, the thing that was kind of like a miss, and if there was any feedback that I would give for the team, is that instead of having those folks go out and go, Spotlight was so awesome, look at all this new stuff, what they did is they went and posted being like, I already knew about all this stuff, right? And that's where I feel like that kind of fumbled a little bit, right? Granted, there was a couple new Service Hub features that no one has seen yet, and that was super cool, right? And it was the way they delivered it, the production value, unbelievable, right? Spotlight is amazing. But what I think they should do to really make sure it has a punch, right, is be a little bit tighter on the betas, right? Like you don't need to immediately push stuff into open beta, public beta. Like you can hang back. I know, but listen, I'm talking about from the marketer's perspective, right?
Hold
If
on,
you
Max, I can fix
really
this.
wanna
George,
make-
CMS. Drink.
Yeah, drink. Just keep drinking. If they really want to make a punch at those, or like, because the thing is, it's also okay to say, this is Product Spotlight. It's where we bring together all the most recent important updates and tell you how freaking awesome they are, right? And put them into context. That's fine if you want to do that. The tough thing is they made us all think that there was gigantic brand new HubSpot like products coming, right? And then we all showed up and saw 3 new Service Hub features and went, oh, here's an AI video, right? Like, and it was a little, well, I thought it was sick for a lot of people, Yeah. You would have much rather had him sharing and saying, this is awesome versus like, I felt cheated by Spotlight, right? You don't want that. So like, you got to figure out a way to get those people to go amplify that stuff, And I think, if you're going to say you're showing new stuff, you got to show a lot of new stuff, right? So some feedback for the future.
Love it.
Well, that's why messaging strategies are so important. Let's go back to the beginning of this episode when we had the HubSpot solutions person who shall not be named with the AI messaging. I think I watched the light go out of Devin's eyes and his soul escape his body when he heard it. I think where we get challenged from a partner perspective and an internal perspective is making sure we're all saying the same thing, that we're all aligned on what it actually is, what problems it solves, and what are the promises it actually intends to keep. Because you can have the greatest product in the world, but if there is not clarity on what exactly it is, and it's not talked about in a consistent way, that's where these things get tripped up. And that's why one person can make such a difference. You may have most of the people inside of HubSpot talking about it perfectly fine, but that one person will leak through. Sorry, I get really up on my soapbox about messaging.
Yeah.
Devin, yeah?
Yeah. So, okay, 2 things. One, on for the internal person, I'm sorry, there's no excuse. And I'm
No.
yeah, I'm going to die on that hill. But as for externally, there's one aspect of the messaging delivery that I touched on, but didn't really dive into, was that not everyone got it. One of the things that I know that we are doing is clamping down on information that goes out, because there have been too many people with loose lips not respecting the confidentiality agreement. And it's like, it's not like we don't know who's doing it. It's just that there are certain things that we just cannot afford to get out until, we're ready, especially like, you got people snooping around. There are people that will literally go up to partners and ask them about it just so they can speculate on the market. And it's just, it's sad, but that's what we're dealing with. So those are the things that we have to balance. So we have to balance, delivering this quality education. But at the same time, we can't let the cat out of the bag. And it's something that we've dealt, like the joke at Partner Day, when it was like, what's the one thing everybody has in common? You all signed a confidentiality agreement. Stop taking photos of the dang slideshow, man.
Yeah.
Like,
What if I want to hang them up later in my parlor?
Yeah. No.
Well, there was a slide of me.
You're welcome,
that
Max.
was like full face. So that one, absolutely. If you want me in the Kangol in my office on your wall, I'm all
100%.
Oh yeah.
See, Max has a soundboard. My mouth is my own soundboard.
Yeah. When I sit on my veranda, I want to see Devin in his hat from
Near the Davenport.
near the Davenport.
I know what to get you for Christmas.
So here's the thing. Yeah, there you go. So here's the thing. A couple takeaways for everybody as we close this bad boy out. Because Liz, that's where we're at, right? Closing this bad boy out.
We literally, I just want to throw this out to the audience. When I asked this last question, I'm like, man, we're going to come in under. We did a really great, we have been on this one last question
for a while.
Yes, George, take us home,
So
buddy.
a couple things that we should have learned this episode. 1, loose lips sinks ships. Knock it off, partners. Jiminy Christmas. 2, don't listen to Max. Release all the betas that you want to release because I sign up for every single one of them, HubSpot. Number 2, This
Green
label
liquor.
of my red breast has not been cracked or opened, but it sure did make for great TV. My water bottle's empty, and man, I gots to pee.
Cheater.
Well, I figured
Okay, Hub Heroes, we've reached the end of another episode. Will Lord Lack continue to loom over the community, or will we be able to defeat him in the next episode of the Hub Heroes Podcast? Make sure you tune in and find out in the next episode. Make sure you head over to thehubheroes.com to get the latest episodes and become part of the League of Heroes. FYI, if you're part of the League of Heroes, you'll get the show notes right in your inbox, and they come with some hidden power-up potential as well. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend, leave a review if you like what you're listening to, and use the hashtag HubHeroes Podcast on any of the socials and let us know what strategy conversation you'd like to listen into next. Until next time, when we meet and combine our forces, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble human, and of course, always be looking for a way to be someone's hero.